So 2013 is awesome. I'm just saying that right now. I'm super happy the Mayan apocalypse didn't happen. About a year ago, I was in an intro to fiction writing class, and the short story that I wrote for like my final project, because we did a lot of short pieces throughout it, but our kind of final project was this 12 to 20 page short story. Mine was called Super. It's really dumb. It's like, I'm not kidding when I say it's one of the dumbest things I've ever written. It's like, it's not really literary at all. It's just jokes. It's just superhero jokes the whole way through. That is the entire premise of this story. And it got accepted into the National Undergraduate Literature Conference in Utah. I submitted to this literature conference like last month, just sort of on a whim. I was like, hey, what's the harm? One of my, New Year's resolutions was to send out my writing to contests and stuff, and I got accepted. Actually, 9 kids from my school did, including Quinn, the boyfriend, Kelly, one of my best friends, and Matt, someone you guys know from a couple of my videos. And so that's really, really exciting. So I thought that for today's video, I would just read you an excerpt from this incredibly stupid story that I wrote that got accepted by the, I'll say it again, National Undergraduate Literature Conference. Doesn't that sound prestigious? And my stupid superhero story got accepted. Man, I can't wait to see what people like this do with my vampire short story that I'm writing for this semester. Whoo! Oh, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but last year when I reached my 200th video, I read that monologue from the supervillain, the Dominatrix. So here's the thing about superheroes, the thing that no one really wants to admit. The Dominatrix monologue is canon to this story. I won't read you a part where she's involved, but if you remember that monologue, that's related to this. That semester I just wrote a crap ton of stuff about superheroes and it was so much fun. You know what, I'm just gonna read you the beginning. Before the story gets anywhere, and trust me, it will, we need to get something straight. I was perfectly happy before all this went down. I was perfectly content being unexceptionally above average. I liked where I was in life. Recent college graduate, semi-professional blogger, and hopeful breakout novelist, amicable loner, and coffee shop enthusiast. It was all fine. Great, even. And I never asked for anything more. I wasn't one of those people constantly whining about how dull their lives are. Then I met Elle, via Craigslist of all places. I needed a roommate to afford the apartment I wanted, and she was the least crazy of the people I interviewed. And Elle's great, but sometimes I wished I'd gone with the alcoholic, I'll name my goldfish after you if you let me move in girl. Because with Elle, life got complicated. There's nothing exactly wrong with superheroes. They keep the city safe, and aside from inflated egos and the occasional drug scandal, they're not too noticeable. But what people don't realize is how high maintenance they are if you live with them. I ended up living with 3, somehow. People who can fly, lift cars with one hand, and run at nearly the speed of light tend to make life a whole lot more complicated. Basically, the story follows an arc of this girl, Sophie Brooker, lives with 3 superheroes named Elle, Reese, and Mike, and she's writing a novel based on the kind of experiences that she's had of living with them. Basically, she's really lonely. She lives with 3 superheroes, and she can't tell anyone about that because, well, they have secret identities to uphold. And she doesn't really talk to anyone else because she's a writer and she has to support herself and focus on her writing, and because that writing is about the superheroes, she's sort of just in this cycle of, isolation as the only, mortal amongst all of these fantastical people. So the problem Sophie is currently having with her novel is that because it's based on her real experiences, she's the only non-superhero character, or her character is the only non-superhero character. And so her editor, who really likes her book, is like, well, I think you need someone else to sort of be a foil to all of the insanity of the roommates because, if this girl didn't have any normal people to talk to, she'd go insane. And so Sophie's like, yeah, she would. So right now she's struggling to insert this character into her largely autobiographical novel who doesn't exist in her real life, and so she just gets even more overwhelmed with how, isolated she is in this situation. And so one day, as she's walking home from, attempting to edit this novel, she gets kidnapped by a supervillain named Captain Chaos. So they have this really nice conversation while she's duct taped to a chair suspended over a tank of sharks, and by the end of the story, she runs into him just on the streets, and asks him to help her move a coffee table into her apartment. So yeah, that's really exciting, and I'm really excited. I know I said that already, but I'm really excited. 2013 has been 2013 has been the best freaking year. 2013. High five.